today, but my training did not, and it does not even today. So the demand has to become as a movement from the associations or from teachers. If they are humane teachers, the demand should come from the teachers themselves, because the students in the classroom as if they have understood everything. They haven't, and we know writing skills of the deaf remain poor, and why the associations like Deaf Way or Deaf Association of the Deaf or National Association of the Deaf have to conduct literacy classes, because I am part of this system. But about the rights, we need to appraise even the professionals about the existence of these laws. Something needs to
I think two things should happen. One is very important, that children should be in school. When children are not in school, even if the teachers are trained, it will be of no use. I don't say teacher should not be trained. Even if the children are not there, teacher should be trained. But it will become a force, because almost children are not in the schools. The children should be in full force, and simultaneously they should be trained. Of course they should be trained, and wherever extra special teacher is not required, well, even a normal teacher can be expertise. I think that will be the best course. I am not expert on all these things, but what I feel that because class teacher, it will lessen the financial burden on the government also, and if one teacher can do that exercise also, I think he should, that will be benefited. And wherever special teacher in addition to or special teacher as specific is required, I think those should be provided.
Muttama, your question please.
So considering the fact that you are into education and that's your pet passion, I just want to bring to the notice of the panel and the delegates here that in states like Kerala, Karnataka, and across the south, I think, but I'm sure about Kerala and Karnataka, persons with hearing impairment are not given admission into the B.Ed and TTC courses. The argument being that what will they teach and how can they teach and how can they convey to the student. My argument is that given a chance, I'm sure they'll be able to prove themselves. There are people I know who've actually trained abroad and come back and been good teachers. So that's one point that we really need to take up in the High Court. The other point I'd like to make is, much to my horror, when we were discussing the amendments to the PWD Act in Andhra Pradesh, what came up was that the government is planning to ban the use of sign language in the schools, because they feel that persons with hearing impairment will then sit in a group and they will only mingle amongst themselves and there won't be proper inclusion, is the argument that is put forth by the government. And this, I think, we in the hearing impaired sector need to know, because once this happens, then there'll be utter chaos. So that is something that probably hasn't come out in the open, but very soon it will clamp down on us.
Yes.
Thank you, Muttama, for that very valuable piece of information. Well, let everybody know that we are filing a case in the Supreme Court, which will say that all teachers of the deaf compulsorily must learn sign language as part of the communication program, because right now there is no communication strategies outlined by the B.Ed course on HI, as Dr. Randhawa will clarify to you. So
hearing impaired teachers in regular schools. I mean, those who what they are saying is
the next
that
stage.
Yeah.
What we are looking at right now is what Mr. Randhawa was saying: the categoric illiteracy, functional illiteracy of any virtually deaf people across the board. I think the lady from Calcutta also says the same thing. Only till 8 there is a class, and after 8 they want you all to join the class for job, become a jamadar somewhere. The point of Dr. Maniram Sharma being totally deaf, being BA, MA, MPhil, PhD political science, double RAS, twice RAS passed, double IAS cleared, still being discriminated in spite of the fact that he can speak as well as I can speak, just shows that the system is totally inured to the fact that deaf people can actually accomplish something. His merit rank of 327 last year, 227 227 was not enough for these people. They sent him home. They said, we don't have a vacancy for you. You go home after getting rank of 227. So the discrimination lies at that level. And as I mentioned to the minister, Ms. Meera Kumar recently, I said we're going to have one of these days. It's a matter of time before one very highly qualified person like Mr. Raghava or somebody else who are very, very qualified and who are sign language users, unable to speak, totally deaf, unable to speak, using pure sign language, will clear civil services. And what will happen at that stage of the game? Even now, as we have enough government employees among the deaf here who know how partially deaf or people who are having certain amount of the oral capacity are taken in, and deaf people equally capable, equally qualified, who do not have oral capacity are removed. So the whole idea of excluding all these, the issue is we are excluding the children who cannot lip read. So what about inclusion for them? This is the issue.
The biggest problem, friends, is that in our country, that opportunity, absence of opportunity. Opportunity is not given. Even without giving an opportunity, a person is condemned. That you cannot do. So give the opportunity. That is and that you have to take. You have to snatch it.
I also want to clarify something else, specifically in relation to Muttama's comment, and that is that there seems to be a lot of doublespeak within the government, because on the one hand you're saying that Andhra is planning to ban sign language. On the other hand, as far as NCERT is concerned, when we wanted a budget allocation in the Planning Commission, NCERT said there's no need for a budget allocation because sign language and Braille for all classes, for all students in regular schools, whether hearing impaired, whether visually impaired or not, has already taken place, and it's going to be introduced very shortly, probably in the next year's curriculum itself. It's going to be introduced at class 4 level. So I really don't know if we are going to be teaching all grade 4 children, then why the teachers should or why we should remove the use of sign language in schools is a little strange.
Well, Mr. Iyer.
I am Subramaniam Iyer. I am advocate. I am from Ahmedabad. I am practicing Gujarat High Court. I would like to share a PIL which I have filed in Gujarat High Court, and the affidavit filed by the Railway Administration. The facts are, in Gujarat, in the year 2001, a massive earthquake had hit, and thousands of people died, and thousands of people have been rendered disabled due to injuries. At the very same time, the railways have undertaken the task of gauge conversion from meter gauge to broad gauge. The railway line from Ahmedabad to Bhuj, and also the railway line from Ahmedabad to New Delhi, has been converted from broad gauge to from meter gauge to broad gauge. But the height of the platforms have not been raised. This was the grievance expressed by me in the petition. Therefore, in the reply, the Railway Administration, they accepted the demand and saying that the height will be raised. And at the very same time, they have also said that they have decided certain plans which are of short-term plans and long-term plans. The short-term plans which they have said in the affidavit are providing standard ramps, second, earmarking at least 2 parking plots for vehicles of disabled persons, third, providing non-slippery pathway from parking to building, fourth, providing signages, fifth, provision of at least 1 drinking tap suitable for use by disabled persons, sixth, provision of at least 1 disabled-friendly toilet on the ground floor, 7, may I help you booth, and 8, lowering of booking counters. So these are the plans they call short-term plans. The long-term plans, according to their affidavit, is providing inter-platform connectivity, and second, engraving the platform edge, third, standard ramp with railing for barrierless entry. And they have said in the affidavit that the long-term plan, as regards the long-term plan, the target has been set for March 2008, necessary planning is made, and the railway administration assures court that the work shall be completed as per the target. So this is what they have said in the affidavit. And at the very same time, they have also said the railway allows physically challenged person to keep an escort with him or her while traveling by train at half the rate prescribed. The fare for handicapped person is also 50%. The facility
Mr.
of
Iyer,
wheelchairs are available.
Mr. Iyer, sorry to interrupt you. A little, be a little brief in this because we are running short of time.
So now the question is, the railway has said that the platforms are divided into three categories looking to the size of the cities. The Act does not say any discrimination. Here the platforms, so far as the larger cities are concerned, the platforms are of high level. The smaller towns have the platforms of medium level, and the village towns are, smaller villages, they have the platform at rail level. But so far as the Act is concerned, Act says that all the platforms should have Section 44 does not make any discrimination within these platforms. A person traveling from A station to B station, if from a higher city from a larger city to a smaller one, then that itself would be amount to discrimination. So here I would, and at the very same time, of course, the railway has said that they are invited suggestions from all the from the petitions.
Yeah, true, Mr. Iyer, but the thing is that we are particularly looking after the problems of disabled persons here. I mean, your problem seems to be
no. This is going to be a national problem, because wherever the gate conversion.
No, I understand. The thing is that we are particularly looking into the deaf problems here. Now it's coming with this is mostly pertaining to the locomotor disabled things. So I would request that this could be discussed in our internal things, and could come up with some suggestions from this regard.
So, Mr. Iyer,
yes, so access in terms.
Mr. Iyer, just in Delhi High Court also the railway is filing so many affidavits. Please compare it to what they have said here, what they have said in your. I think that will help. So many affidavits are there.
Right.
So again, the 50% concessions which they say, they have said it in the affidavit, but whether it is available to the persons with, the hearing impairment people, that's also to be seen, because the Act doesn't make any discrimination.
There is an issue we are going to take up as an AD. As far as the concession goes, concession currently applies only to deaf persons. But if my daughter is deaf and I have to take her to Madras, then I necessarily will have to go with her as escort, but escort has to pay full fare. So we are going to have a discussion on this issue and see, well, how does a child go to school? Maybe I do not want my daughter to travel at any age alone anywhere. If a deaf woman has to go home to her parents' home for her delivery or anything like that, she will necessarily have to have an escort. And escort should be also issued a ticket, double-way, two-way ticket, going and coming for dropping that person and picking that person up.
Correct. So this is an issue.
So all these issues are there, and for concession also, in any case, blind are receiving an escort, orthopedically handicapped are receiving an escort, mentally retarded are getting an escort, deaf people do not get escort discounts. And deaf schools, as everybody knows, are wide and varied all over the country. If I want to send my child to a good school in Chennai, then it's going to be impossible for me. I have to pay full fare of anything to go and come back. But my child gets half. So it's discrimination on that level. So we will deal all these things.
Yeah, we have to deal it.
This is the railway ministry issue, which is dealing with deaf persons, which we are going to attack very shortly.
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, I just would like to add something here. As far as the railway PIL is concerned, that Advocate Iyer was speaking about. See, what happens is mostly when you are looking at these accessibility issues, and the guidelines that are available are mostly very pro people with orthopedic disability and people who are visually visually impaired. So as far as like he was saying, there is this may I help you booth. See, we hear about this induction loop that is supposed to be installed at all places where hearing impaired people visit. But the thing is that we've never seen what an induction loop looks like. And also, the thing is, are there any suggestions that you would like us to include, because there are a lot of PILs going on access all over the country?
Yes. In the small, may I, sir? with your permission.
No, yes, why not?
Recently, at the Planning Commission, Access, the working group has on backward class and disability has a panel on a subgroup on disability. In that, I have personally made a recommendation about having auditorily free audition of what's it called? Areas of high audition, especially in places where there's very lot of background noise, buses, bus stations, train stations, and stuff like that. By using a loop induction system in a certain area, you will never see a loop induction system, Dilesh. It is just a piece of wire that goes around the room or around a certain area. Within that area, your hearing aid will switch to a different mode, and you will get your inputs to your hearing aid directly from a microphone like this into your ear. Nobody else can necessarily will hear who cannot hear my voice directly. That's a loop induction system. It will be just a wire around the room. Any room of any size can be done with a basic amplifier. There's some system to it. You have to, so, for example, a person who's using a hearing aid goes to a railway station. There's a bustle. He hears everything. Not only the announcement, not only this and this. So there should be loop induction system capable places on each platform, so you can stand there and get the announcement clearly. What is being said is announced through that microphone, that in a speaker in that area as well. So deaf person stands in a certain area, certain zone, and hears the announcement. Who can hear? Who is using that? Similarly, in front of a ticket counter or a "May I help you" booth, or the railway police office or the station master's office or the grievance office, all these locations could be identified as high audition areas and put a loop induction system there. So I have recommended this in the Planning Commission working group subcommittee. I can give you a recommendation. I can put that for you, and you can see it if you like. Well, what the idea was, all areas of high background noise should have a high audition zone. Telephone for deaf. The TTD. The TTD systems in India, we have not done yet. In the US, they have quite a lot of them, and relays. But TTD device itself nowadays is being phased out by the SMS facilities we are having, which are much more easy and modern technology is taken over. So the importance of having SMS lines for emergencies, SMS lines for hospitals, SMS lines for various different type of activity. Emergency type of activity, government to access the information. That's what's being done right now. TTD we haven't really explored personally, though in the long term it should be something to be done about that as well, because not necessarily everybody has a SMS facility.
I request Mr. Ram Mohan to. You have a question? Yeah.
So, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, the person said has a pain in his heart. He scribbled something on the, doesn't write it clearly. Please don't write the name of my food, my diet, whatever clearly. He said, no, I don't have time. You please move on. He says these doctors are so proud of their position in the AIMS. I don't know what to do.
It's a social problem. Yeah, Mr. Raghav. Yeah. See, it's a mindset of the people. They don't understand what exactly the people are facing. On the other side, it's a mindset. It's a mindset of the people, doctors who doesn't write it properly, who doesn't give you the exact clear this. But we have to change our mindset and our thing. It's not that it doesn't contain anything illegal on that.
Hello. When an audiologist tests a hearing impaired person, they mention the hearing loss in decibels. But when a disability certificate is issued, it's converted to percentage. So the very common complaint we have from the parents is that any deaf child with hearing impairment mentioned as less than 100%, and who, like the persons who are actually competent enough to convert decibels to percentage, it's a big issue, you know. Any parents come to us that my child is denied railway concession because it's not 100%. A person, the child is profoundly deaf, more than 90 dB is the loss, but the medical authority at the commissioner's office wrote 75% disability. It is so random that all the parents are going again to the offices to get it written 100% so that they are able to avail the concession. And if a child utters papa in that office, they say no, your child can speak, he cannot avail the opportunity. Teachers do so much of hard work to let the deaf child learn to speak little bit, and if the child happens to speak in that disability issue certificate office, then they are denied certificates. So something needs to be done about it.
I just want to clarify this issue. Actually, there is a very foolish system which has come into place. What they've done is that they have actually, for purposes of the disability certificate, they have made categorizations. And the categorization, below 100% is 75 to 80. For some reason, the authorities believe that between 80 to 100, there can be nobody who will exist in that category at all. So therefore, if you are not 100%, if you even have a little bit of hearing or a little bit of sight, you actually qualify for the 75 to 80% category. And that's why you're getting these kind of certificates being issued. You are thinking that it's a random thing, 75%, but the doctor has no options but to issue you a certificate of 75% because you're not 100%. And that's an issue that needs to be taken up by the disability sector.
Sir, I thank you for your detailed speech. Your very good speech covering all the aspects was very good.
Thank you.
Only 4 or 5 points I want to talk to you within your speech. First thing, you talked about health aspect. What I feel is whatever residual hearing is there, whatever residual hearing in the child is there, that is also being removed by the doctors. That is by, as soon as the child is deaf, the parent take it to the hospitals and they give injection here, skin grafting or other very strong, very powerful medicine, etc. So what I feel is, as for a health aspect, the child should not be deprived of whatever residual hearing given by the Almighty, and that is the most important. So all the deaf become speechless also, due to where at the child level itself they become deaf as well as dumb. So whatever residual hearing is there, that should be encouraged by, in a closed room, use a small, very hearing aid, etc. Speech can be, that is most important aspect. Second point, you covered that ramp, etc. should be covered. The case you must be knowing. If the orthopedic handicapped people can claim ramp, we can also claim interpretation at various places. The blind can claim some guide to escort them. So as per law, if voice people can claim ramp, the deaf can claim interpretation. That should be included in the DRT Act. There is a discrimination between the voice people, deaf as well as blind within the law. The second point. Third point, in the DRT Act, separate section for deaf, separate for blind, separate for law for voice people. Don't intermix all the three. There is separate section for deaf because we have got our own problem, deaf people. The blind people have their own problem. The voice people have got separate problem. So different sections within the entire act. Voice separate, blind separate, because voice people are well qualified, blind people are all qualified, PhDs are there. Deaf and educational aspect is very poor. Even deaf people come to Chennai for education in their children. There's not good schools. this 4 point.
Thank you. Then
And one more point, what is 50% handicap? Suppose one-eyed man is there, whether he is 50% handicap, that is a problem, is there?
Yeah. Well, sorry, we are running short of time because we have exceeded a time limit over here. So I will not take any more questions because I'll just ask Mr. Agarwal to reflect to his question.
what?
Reflection. Because we are not mixing up the things. It has to look into different dimensions.
No, can I just take
Hello?
that question
Hello?
and answer it? The point is that we have to make a differentiation between law and policy, and rules and regulations that come as a consequence of law. Now, the law is there for barrier-free environment. What barrier-free environment means and what it translates into is a different thing. The translation of that barrier-free environment is done by people who say it's only a ramp. But actually, barrier-free environment means barrier-free information also. It means the freedom to move around. And as such, it has to include auditory signals for people who cannot see, and it has to include visual signals for people who cannot hear. So therefore, the law at the present moment, in my opinion, the law is there. The problem is with the implementation of the law, and the problem is with the kind of governmental orders which are being issued from time to time, which don't take into account that the law is the same for everybody, and they create these differentiations and demarcations. I think that's the level at which we have to deal with this issue.
Yes, I think.
Thank you, Mr. Roma, and thank you, sir.
Winding up?
Yeah, I'm winding it.
Huh?
You want to share something?
You give a vote of thanks for this.
Yeah, I'm going.
Sir, can I talk to something?
No, I have already wind up the session. You can, if you have any
Okay,
question,
okay,
you can have it
okay.
in that session.
After.
Because this had purely become a technical session. Thank you, Mr. Ashok Agarwal, for your pleasant speech, and Mr. Arun Rao for helping us in this technical session. Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Finally, thanks.
I am going to take just half a minute and introduce Vandana Bedi, who's our next speaker and the last speaker before lunch. There are a couple of things that I would like to tell you about her. Vandana has been working in the disability sector for a long time. Can I have one sign language interpreter here, please? I'd like to introduce Vandana Bedi, who's been a consultant in the disability sector for the last